All right, Sanders residence. Pierce, Colton, and Bradley decide to team up to solve the Sarah Hawkins case. They have a new trail to follow. Francis Sanders, an art collector and friend of the painter who died right in front of Pierce. The detective goes into the house in order to speak to his widow about the Shambler that the unfortunate man mentioned before he died. Oh, this is going to go poorly. I should have invested in psychology.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well.
Oh,
look
shit.
who's here.
Hey, Kat.
You know each other.
We met briefly. Time enough to iron out a few matters. The main thing is that we understood one another. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me.
You have no idea, lady. I have no idea. Well, I have a semblance of an idea, but I have advanced knowledge.
May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Literally before he
Yesterday.
died.
I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
He died screaming right before my eyes? Oh boy. That's, I'm gonna go for a psychology professional.
What happened to your husband is terrible, Mrs. Sanders. But from what I saw, it was inevitable. The man I met yesterday had lost his reason. He suffers no longer, if you would allow me such a platitude.
Of course. Thank you for your kind words. Nobody in that hospital would have deigned to speak them to me. However, it will require more than that to soothe my mind. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
I could not do anything to help him. Let's see. The true culprit is Fuller. It wasn't me who sent him there. I share your grief, but I had nothing to do with it. I feel like I'd fail the eloquence test.
So ask Fuller, he's the eminent doctor. But I would caution you, you'll find his treatments more terrifying than the illnesses he sets out to cure.
That churl no longer takes the trouble to receive me. He sends his secretary to tell me that I cannot see Francis. Me. His own widow. He must think that I am a terrible wife for having abandoned him in such a way. But I only wanted what was best for him.
I'm not here to condemn you, Mrs. Sanders.
Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Oh boy, okay, well, did he speak to you of a Shambler?
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A Shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors. Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it, I would urge you to make the most of your visit, because I count on ridding myself of that thing as soon as I can.
That's a smart idea.
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long.
Okay, I didn't want to faff about because I really don't. This game seems to have a few things where if you hit the rod. Sorry, I looked at that and said hit. But if you choose the wrong options, you can get completely locked out of dialogue that you might have wanted to do.
The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives.
Oh boy, a photograph of Sarah Hawkins next to the Sanders. They must be close. And look at him. Sanders looks so happy.
A house of artists. Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even?
Possibly. He might have really enjoyed her general work on her art, and they might have connected. Sarah Hawkins was a popular artist, so that means that she, before everything went wrong, must have enjoyed sharing her art with the world.
Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler, "Finally." What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting?
I guess we'll have to see. Examine the Shambler.
He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom?
The real question is, what does the painting even look like? And we're gonna get totally screwed over by the Shambler itself. It's gonna be awful.
He didn't want Sanders to have the painting. She must have felt devastated.
Did you see that eyeball? Her eyeball just showed up through her face. What about her?
Was she jealous of Sarah Hawkins?
Well, I mean, there's a good chance. Her husband is obsessed with the works of another lady to a pretty ridiculous extent. She couldn't have been happy about this.
The Shambler. I need to see it.
Whew. Okay, here's a question. How many of these artworks are done by Sarah Hawkins? You have this looks like it could just be Irene. Second volume in the series covers everything from gas gangrene to trench nephritis. In addition to a precise and detailed study, the book presents some avant-garde theories. The incredible complexity of this book reserves it for medical experts. Well, I'm glad they have it, because I can keep on advancing my skills.
Did she really care for him after all?
Dear Madam, I acknowledge receipt of the letter in which you demand the body of your deceased husband. I'm sorry to inform you that I cannot agree to return his body to you. At the moment of his interment, you signed a discharge, allowing me to dispose of the body as I see fit. I extend my deepest condolences to you, Thomas Fuller. Oof. Oof. Fuller is full of it. Alright, I guess I'll look around and hope I don't accidentally stumble into the room with Kat, because she'll be like, what are you doing here, detective? And I'll be like, stumbling around. That's what I do. I look over everything I can.
Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
An audio recording that Francis Sanders left for his wife, Irene. Ooh. I guess I'll listen to this right next to her.
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes.
And was that it?
I can't take any more. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
That accursed gallery. Those accursed paintings. That accursed Sarah.
I'm sorry for your loss, Miss Irene. Well, I'm gonna try and take this back, okay? Oh, we can listen to it again. Nah, there might be more around here. Where's the gallery? And what's in it that ruined their lives? Oh, hey, cat. Okay. Ooh. Dissertation on an anatomical question. It is the work of a student in book form. Although the observations are relevant, they lack the expertise of an experienced physician. However, the questions asked allow us to imagine new ways of exploring human anatomy. Good. Improve my skills.
A strange Amerindian pendant.
An ancient amulet, probably Amerindian. I wonder what its purpose could be. I don't know what an Amerindian is. The whale and the cod. It is focused on the past glory of the island.
I could use one of those.
Ooh, more sleeping pills. I found these sleeping pills in the Sanders house. Were they prescribed to Francis Sanders or to Irene? Could have been both. Could have shared.
Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing.
Dear Francis, I beg you to give up all hope of ever owning this accursed painting. If our friendship has any meaning for you, please spare me the weight of guilt. I cannot be the architect of your fall. I beg you, my dear friend, forget the Shambler. Your friend, Sarah Hawkins. Well, she did get taken in by Dr. Fuller, and that might have completely changed how things were going.
Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
This volume spends some time on Reverend Wickwood's community. His wife expresses her worries about the strange dreams that the Reverend's congregation are having since their arrival on the island. Some members of the community, her husband included, began to speak of their vision as a messenger sent by God. She is scared that they will suffer the same fate as the lost tribe. And then what is this? Oh, hey. Key to the standard. Yeah, that probably was always going to happen. Would you read the book? Not right now.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
I've got to vary the paintings for a buyer. Pfft, get the fuck out of here.
Another painting by Sarah Hawkins. One connected to the horrors I've discovered on this island.
What a surprise. I'm listening.
All's fair in love and war, I suppose.
What? What does that mean? I thought I was about to, like, explain to her what was happening.
Not now, sweetheart. I'd like to read this without some snoop looking over my shoulder.
Okay, what the fuck ever. I'm gonna go lose my mind real quick. Malleus Bestiarium. Bestiarium? That's not gonna be a bestiarium because there's nothing there. Bestiarium. I suck at this. It is a kind of encyclopedia of monstrous and unknown creatures. I'm beginning to believe that they exist. Oh, I mean, that's the whole point of all this. How's my sanity doing? Oh boy. Pierce read an ancient treatise, the Malleus Bestiarium. I'm just gonna say Arium, just to fucking move on. This bestiarium makes an inventory of numerous creatures from the occult world or parallel dimensions. The very nature of its knowledge makes it an unholy book. By reading it, Pierce lost some of his sanity. Well, to find the truth, sometimes we have to lose all of our sanity. Ooh. This is a much bigger gallery than I was expecting. Holy shit. Uh-oh. There's a hiding point. We're probably gonna get ambushed by the Shambler. That's it, just...
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times.
Can I take him?
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times.
Okay, so Mr. Sanders collected a lot of art depicting the occult and the elder gods, or that whole general shtick.
Why was he so interested in old weapons?
This guy was fully into this mess long before Hawkins.
The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery.
But there has to be a reason for it. Why was he so obsessed? I want to find out so much more. No, more oil. That's nice. And then there's the Shambler, which is probably going to attack us here. And we're going to have to sneak around it. Well, let's go ahead and get this started. Oh no! All the windows closed! This is where shit's getting really started. I hope this thing's blind. It doesn't have eyes. That doesn't really mean much, though. It's a creature from another world, and it might not give a shit about things like eyes.
What the hell was that?
Well, we examined the Shambler. Oh, I'm fucked. It's one of these kinds of creatures? Ugh. Okay. So... this is one of those kinds of enemies in a game that... you see it, and it chases you. So I can't fucking look at it. You have to ignore the natural instinct to fucking be aware of what's going on around me. And I might just be dying immediately. So, oof. Oof, 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 oof. Alright. Oh, hey, how you doing? You killing me? You're killing me. This is what we're doing right now. I'm dead. Alright. So he can see me through other methods too, such as just seeing me in general. That's gonna be even worse.
What the hell was that?
Alright, well, I might as well fucking find out how this thing works, because we've already fucking died to it. Aha! Get back! I've got the power of light! Get away from me, you shambler! He really does just kind of shamble. Oh no, not my stomach again! And all the madness is gone. Do I really have to respawn?
What the hell was that?
Like this? Alright, we gotta get out of here somehow. Cool.
I can't even touch it.
Let's see what happens with the closet. Even though we lose our shit inside of enclosed spaces. Oh, fuck off, dude.
No choice. I must get rid of it.
How? How am I gonna get rid of the horror? Do I knock something on top of it? Because, I mean, I'm down for that kind of thing. Like shenanigans. Kill this dumbass creature with the power of physics. No, I'm getting stabbed again! What a fantastic encounter. Okay.
What the hell was that?
My dear, lovely viewers, we've got so much to find out about the world and its mysteries. Skip this over and over again. The very least you could do is put a fucking checkpoint.
What the hell was that?
In a spot that's more reasonable. He saw me already. Dude, come on!
What the hell was that? I can't even touch it.
Maybe I can stare at the Shambler painting again.
That thing came out of this painting. There has to be a link.
Burn the painting! Burn the painting!
If I destroy it.
Burn the painting! Burn the painting! Burn the painting! If only we could burn the painting with my lantern! Maybe if I hold up my fucking light to the goddamn thing, you know? Die! Be gone from this world! Come on! So currently I have many issues with this section. The first is they've pretty much slapped on every single awful thing about the horror monster tropes into one fucking enemy.
Touch it.
We have an enemy that will one-shot you.
Way out. I must get rid of it.
We have an enemy that you cannot stop or stall or anything.
There has to be a link.
And you're locked into a room with it.
Maybe if I destroy it.
with no real hints as to what the fuck you're expected to do, minus maybe if I destroy the painting. How do I destroy the painting?
The thing came out of this painting. There has to be a link.
Is there some
Maybe
random
if I
thing in this
destroy
place?
I could try tearing the painting with this thing.
You got it, my dude. I guess I have to stab the painting. I'm gonna go stab the painting. Fuck the Shambler. Fuck this place. Fuck everything. Oh! JK player! J fucking K! What the? Who the fuck? Fuck this section!
Damn it! I have to use a specific dagger.
No shit, detective! No fucking shit! The problem is, which goddamn dagger is it? Okay.
What the hell was that?
So I've died to this multiple times, and in order to save you from my frustration, I have looked up exactly what I need to do. And that is, obviously, we discovered that we need to get daggers. I'm probably gonna die here. Ready? No, we're fine. We won. Good game. Fuck you, Shambler. I did it! I stabbed the Shambler! Oh, now you can run! Stab it in the face! Edward! Yeah, bait it like that, huh? Oh, I've been tainted.
What's the matter with you?
Oh, hey, cat. You've caught me at an awkward time.
You sure you won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
Yeah, I was attacked. And you missed me sending it back into the painting.
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
Wait, did you hear it?
You knew. You knew about the beast.
What are you talking about? Think yourself lucky that I saved your hand, even if it was to save my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I probably would do this.
It's not your style to give me free information like that.
Take it as payment for being my canary. A simple trade-off. Now go see your antique seller. I still got things to settle with Irene.
Don't go look at the painting. You'll die. We just leave like, okay, bye, Irene. Oh, wow. Okay, viewers, before we go to chapter 7, I kind of want to do a bit of a rant, a bit of a venting kind of thing, just because that was a pretty frustrating section, and the way that I'm going to be cutting it up, you're probably not even going to see how frustrating everything was. But video is done. If you want to go to just the next video, we'll be starting up chapter 7 there. But if you would indulge me for a few minutes here, that would also be awesome. Thank you either way. Okay. I think it's safe to say that section was probably one of the most frustrating things I've ever had to deal with in a horror video game. And I really wish that they had handled it better, because it kind of, while the entire scenario itself doesn't come out of nowhere, the difficulty spike kind of does. Because before this, we had the stealth section at the asylum, and that was it. There's been no sneaking around monsters. There's no real introduction to this thing. You just kind of have the cutscene, and then you're put into this really frustrating scenario where I doubt even I'd say 90% of the people who played through this game probably didn't get through that on their first try, because there's just so many things that you can't possibly know about the scenario unless you go in and die over and over and over again. And I really wish that they'd handled that better, because nothing is worse in a horror video game than you not respecting the horror of the video game, of the horror video game at least. And I'm the kind of person with horror video games that kind of happens pretty readily, pretty easily. Within one death, I was already pretty over that entire section with the Shambler. But there's so many other factors in here that compound together. Like, you look around, if you lean and look at the monster, then it instantly starts homing in on your position. And that already breaks the rule of look around the corner and you'll be safe because your body's hidden. And so you couldn't have possibly known that was going to be a thing. There's nothing that hints at that kind of mechanic. And it just kind of happens, and then you get stabbed. And now you have to realize your character's immortality, because you can just restart the checkpoint over and over and over and over again. And then in terms of everything else, even as you're trial and error, or doing your trial and error, there's just so much to do in the room that you can't know on your first try, that you're probably you're gonna find out that you can't leave the room, and then you got to find out that you need to use a dagger to slice the painting, but then it turns out that you need a very specific kind of dagger. And so there's just so many ways that can end up getting you killed, because there's only one specific dagger that works, and it's the one on the complete diagonal opposite of the room, which means it might end up being the last one that you ever try out, as you die over and over and over again trying to use the daggers. Now, to be fair to the scenario, I just hit my mic, to be fair to it, the monster isn't that hard to deal with once you know how it works, but I really think that some of the things should have been established a little bit more beforehand. We should have had less daggers, or there should have been more of a verbal cue of this doesn't seem like the right dagger, I just feel it, or something. So that way you don't have as much trial and error for the daggers. Then the monster itself, we should have established in the cutscene beforehand that they make you repeat over and over and over again if you die. They should have shown that looking at the monster is a bad idea, so you can immediately go into the scenario okay, fine, don't look at the monster, I'll just try and focus a little bit more on the crouching and keeping myself out of sight kind of thing. It could have been handled a lot better, and it's disappointing that it wasn't, since it's such an abrupt change of tone now in comparison to everything else. Now I have this lingering kind of towards the entire idea of dealing with the monsters, and I'm no longer terrified of the monsters. I'm just now frustrated at their existence. And we'll see what ends up happening as we go further through this game. I know that there are shooting mechanics, because if you look at the key bindings, there's just aiming and shooting there. So maybe we'll be able to shoot the monsters. Maybe there'll be other things. It would have been really cool. One of the things I tried to do in that section that just didn't work, you can hold out your lantern a little bit more and it starts burning through your oil. And I thought that would be something that we could do to kind of halt the progress of the monster, maybe make it flinch back a little bit as you bring in the light. But no, again, there's just so much that you can't know going into that section, and that was really, 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 really frustrating. But oh well, we're past it, and we're gonna move on into chapter 7. Thank you if you stuck around and listened to this. Let me know what you guys think down there. When I was looking up the answer, because I was just so frustrated trying to find the dagger, it seemed like a lot of other people agree that it was a really dumb section. So I mean, I don't feel alone in that, but who knows? Maybe some people did beat that section really fast. Maybe their internal instincts immediately told them, I'm not even going to look at the monster. I'm just going to crouch around these corners and perfectly hide. But for me, no, very incompatible with that kind of overall tone and gameplay. But thank you guys for listening through this little mini rant, and I will see you guys in the next video.